because, I think they did that with like Led Zeppelin and like AC/DC.
Those are conspiracies.
Yeah. And it was like, hey, they're talking about Satan. Like, I don't think Kendrick
No.
Lamar is trying to get people to join the Illuminati or
No, I
any
don't think so.
satanic cults, but it's cool. It's cool to do that with music. These little.
Well, that's what I was gonna get at. Is like, in my
Easter
opinion,
eggs.
what makes a really good album and what separates it from just like a collection of singles is the flow of the album and the theme and how it can kind of like portray. For example, To Pimp a Butterfly, since we're on
T-Pep.
since we're on Kendrick Lamar, is way, 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 way better if you listen to it all the way through than it is to listen to, like, if you put it on shuffle. It's a whole different experience. You have no idea what's going on if you listen to that album in shuffle. And there's a ton of albums that are like that. And I've always wanted to make an album where it's kind of thematic and it starts and you write each song in order, like you're trying to tell a story of some sort. Have you ever considered doing something like that on a very deep level? Like, I'm not talking about just kind of making the sounds kind of thematic and flow together. I mean, really try to tell a story.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing with this last album, because Sophomore kind of opens up with like these harps and cellos, and it's like some Lord of the Rings-esque type Shire stuff. You're like, oh, this nice, beautiful land of nature, and then kind of goes into some other stuff. I think the songs kind of progress because there's a lot of emotions on my last album. Just with feelings of like love and like missing my grandpa who passed away at the end of 2019.
Rest in peace, by the way.
Grandpa. And so, that was the first time I'd ever done that, was putting these really vulnerable, deep feelings on an album and presenting it in a way that was, I guess, accessible. Because I mean, there's screaming on there too, but there's also singing. There's rough parts, there's soft parts, and I think I was trying to do that with this album, was kind of tell a story. And I think by the end, because the last track on the album is an acoustic track, and it's meant to just kind of like mellow the listener out through all the different sounds, and you just loop back to the first song and
and I
take
think
that ride again.
That's one thing that you can't really get. Well, you can, but not as in depth with like electronic music, for example. I think electronic music is great, but I feel like you can't get that same level of depth and like theme, almost like poetry. I was trying to definitely keep things like pretty organic. Like I think there's like minimal electronics on here. I think one track has like some synths, or like two of the tracks have some synths, but mostly it's just guitar, bass, drums, vocals. And do you do anything special when you write lyrics for your albums? Do you like go anywhere in particular, or like what's your process? Well,
I don't write a lot of songs with lyrics. Usually I'm just kind of feeling some type of way and just we'll doodle some words down, and then sometimes it gets turned into a song, sometimes it doesn't. I actually usually like jam on some guitar chords and figure out, I guess, the key and progression of the song, or like what riffs I want to connect together, and then I kind of start writing stuff. But with Love Takes Time, I actually wrote the song and then made it. Like I wrote the words, and then I was like, okay, I need to pick a chord progression. So I just picked random chords, and then I randomly picked a capo spot, and then I just played it, and the song was made. And I was like, okay, well, I got a song, and
nice. That's
I recorded it.
Cool.
Yeah. I like things to flow like that. There's some of the songs on the album are really old. Like Whales dates back to like 2016. It's like a song I basically jammed with an old friend back then, and they actually got to lay down a synth track over that. But originally, they would play guitar and I would play drums for it. So it kind of evolved a lot to be on this album. So just kind of, capturing all the transformations of all these songs and all these stories and just letting it out there.